What's happening, family? Dr. Joe here. Hope each of you are well and blessed. Listen, I'm going to do a poll. I guarantee you 90% of people watching this over the age of 40 haven't run. And when I say run, I'm talking about a full sprint in the last 10 years. That's most of us. And it's important to talk about this. It may be a little different than what we normally talk about, but everyone watching, regardless of age, should still be able to sprint. It doesn't mean you are as fast as you were in high school and college when you were playing basketball, running track, football, cheerleading, whatever it is that you did. But I think what happens far too often in our society is we accept lack of mobility, lack of activity, lack of sprinting, being highly mobile, tons of movement as being a natural part of the aging process, and it is not. Okay? And there are a couple of reasons why a lot of folks, because right now when you're thinking about it, you're like, really think about it. When's the last time you were in a full all-out sprint and a dog wasn't chasing you or you weren't in danger, but you were trying being intentional about sprinting? Now, a couple of reasons why people don't sprint, especially post 35. Number one, we're too big. All right. Here in America, we have a problem with obesity. It's getting to the point to where even our children, it is an epidemic amongst kids. All right. So number one, we're too big. It's hard to sprint when you're carrying too much weight. Number two, we're inactive. We're in sedentary culture. We go to work, we sit in computers, we play video games. I remember when I was a kid, we used to ride our bike all day. I remember when summer came, we were outside all day long. Kids in this generation don't do that. Number one, they're playing video games, they're in the house, they're using the internet. We're less active as we used to be. And this leads to the deterioration of the aging process more precipitously. Number three, a lot of us are in an inflamed state, and you can see inflammation, in your knees and your ankles, people who have joint problems, arthritic issues. And a lot of these issues in terms of people being too big, lacking in movement, being inflamed are not old people. I'm talking about people in their 30s and their 40s. There are a lot of folks, if you went out and you sprinted full speed on today, you would snap something, hurt something, or couldn't walk. And what I'm saying is all of us should get to the point that at least up to our 80s, we need to be able to go outside and fully sprint. Now, you may be saying, well, what does that have to do with health? It's not necessarily that the sprint is going to make you healthier, but it's the things that you need to do in order to sprint that's indicative of your health. If a 60-year-old man or woman can go out right now and sprint full speed, all right, without injury, that person probably is not obese. That person is accustomed to moving. That person is probably not in an inflamed state. That person probably does not lack in mobility. When people get older, one of the first precursors to individuals who go into assisted living facilities are falls. The lower extremities began to give out. People start they fall. If you think about your mother, maybe your father, maybe your grandparents who were up in age, when they got to the point to where their health failed, you see the precursor of people who experience falls. And a lot of that is due to the lower extremities are shutting down. Why? Because we're not using it. So if you're watching this, I'm not talking about individuals that may have some type of injury that prohibits you from sprinting or something that's environmental that's prohibiting you. I'm talking about the normal, ordinary person who's watching this. You need to get to the point to where you can still sprint, to where you're forcing that cardiovascular system to work. You're forcing the pulmonary system, your lungs, to force air, because what leads to death is hypoxia. That's the absence of air. That's what takes all of us away. Forcing the body through strenuous exercise. If you're watching this and you can't sprint, change your lifestyle to where you work on your obesity, or if you have a weight problem to where you can lower it, inflammatory condition, metabolic condition, work on those things to where you can get to the point to where you can be more mobile. For those of you who are healthy, my young people, don't lose your age. And the way you cannot lose your age is by using it. Twice a week, get to the point to where you sprint. Okay. And it doesn't have to be, I'm on the treadmill killing myself, but I'm just getting to the point to where I'm forcing myself to that strenuous exercise. Now, don't hurt yourself by sitting up here watching this and then you go out tomorrow and sprint and you in Snap City. No, what I'm saying is adjust your life to where the things prohibiting you from not being able to sprint without injury, that you work on it so you can, to really force the body into straining and being under load and being under pressure and being under stress. That's what happens when people have cardiovascular issues and they go into a cardiologist and he or she conducts a stress test. What they're trying to see is, how does your body function when it's under stress? Stress of what? Being strenuous, forcing the heart to pump. That's what we want to work on. If you're out here sprinting, if you're out here keeping the body under load, under stress, because you're working out, because you're mindful of your weight, because you're mindful of eating an anti-inflammatory type of way, these are the things that are going to help you get to the point to where you can sprint. I want to be able to be in my 80s and I can run and I can jump and I can play with my grandchildren, maybe at that time my great-grandchildren, that I can hike a mountain. All right. So you may not see sprinting as being all that important, but it's the things that we have to do that allows us to sprint that is important. It's living life to where we are still functioning under the auspices of our genetic predisposition of our ancient ancestors who were hunters and gatherers, who would run daily, who would climb trees daily, who would strenuously exercise daily. You see, although we're in this modern culture, we're behind keyboards, but we still have the genes of our ancient ancestors who lived thousands of years ago. Okay? The way God made us, we have to put ourselves under stress. All right. So that's one big thing that you can take from this till next time. Hope you're well and blessed. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.